Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. I'm Hudson.
And I'm Allie.
Coming up, which fast food restaurant is getting its first ever value menu?
Also, new weapon unlocked, swarm of bees.
All that and more on the way next. Would it be the worst profession of person to evict? 8772 Radio U. Use the talkback button in the RadioU app. Police in Massachusetts had to evict a woman named Rebecca Rory Woods. Good golf name, right?
Yeah, that is a good golf name.
She was a beekeeper. I don't know why I can't say it. Beekeeper.
Okay.
That has to go down as one of the worst kind of people that you could have to evict, because when the police were trying to kick this woman out of the home, in the struggle, because she didn't just go quietly.
Of course. There's
body cam footage of this, and we can send it to you. It's pretty grainy, unfortunately, but we can send it to you if you text the word B to 8772 Radio U. She starts releasing swarms of bees like she's some kind of supervillain, although it's not as cool as it would be in the movies.
Yeah. This is interesting. Yeah, I don't know why the footage is so grainy. Is this like from 20 years ago?
It's from 4 years ago. It's 2022.
Y'all need to update your body cam abilities, because from 4 years ago, you'd think the body cams would be good enough to be, I don't know, at least 720.
I guess I'm just glad they had body cams at all.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, this is absolutely crazy.
Well, wait, if you look at it too, when it first starts, like before it even gets to the body cam footage, and it's got
the little logo.
The logo, and even that is blurry.
Yeah, maybe this is just the problem with the uploader.
The channel, yeah. I don't know who did this.
Some random YouTube channel posted it, but absolutely insane. It's so crazy. I'm watching the video right now, and she's just like releasing. It's not just her.
Yeah.
It's like another person is like trying to stop her from releasing the bees, and she's like spilling them over or something.
I guess if she's being evicted anyways, then she doesn't want if I can't have these bees, no one can, kind of thing. And so she's, they're not going to do her any good. She doesn't have a place to live. And so, although I don't know, maybe she could have lived off of that. Get a bike, take your bees with you on the back of the bike, a little bike trailer, and start selling that honey. And
it looks like she was planning on doing that because they're on a trailer.
Yeah, that is true.
She was going to take them with her. I don't understand why she's, dumping them out now.
Did you see this? When the bees came out, obviously the bees are upset. They're angry. And when they told this woman, when they said some of the deputies had allergies to bees, she goes, "Oh, you're allergic? Good."
Oh my gosh, she's terrible.
Yeah, this really is a supervillain.
She really is awful.
Yeah.
Oh man. This definitely is up there with the worst career, worst type of person to have to evict. I feel bad for, honestly, police officers when they have to go do an eviction. That has to be like the worst duty to be put on.
Yeah. Anything like that, where you're taking somebody out of their home or taking their property or whatever.
You just know there's gonna. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah. Why? Well, if you're that person, why would you go easily? Why would you? The good news is, I guess, that not only was she evicted, but she has been found guilty on 6 different assault charges now, 4 years later, which is why this has resurfaced. So that it doesn't get much worse than that.
No.
It does not get much worse than, I don't know. I mean, that's my challenge to you. Name a worse kind of person. I guess anybody that has a gun and knows how to use it.
Anybody that has a gun in their career or just in life, like that would be scarier.
Another police officer, I suppose.
Right. But yeah, that would be scarier to me. But this is up there, especially if you're allergic to bees. This is deadly.
Yeah. The World Cup is coming up, and a massive error has just been corrected.
Okay.
Ahead of the World Cup here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The story broke, I believe it was during the fundraiser, so we didn't get a chance to cover it, but that tailgating was going to be banned at stadiums hosting World Cup games.
Yeah, we were like, what? That can't happen.
That's
in the
obviously
United
insane.
States.
It's the biggest event, the biggest sporting event in the world.
Yeah.
And sporting events and tailgating go hand in hand.
Particularly in America.
And FIFA was going to come here and tell us, because it was from FIFA, telling us we can't tailgate.
Nope.
Come on.
Nope.
Have you ever... I thought you were like the world governing body of soccer. Do you know anything about it? Do you know anything about it at all?
Well, as we've seen time and time again with FIFA, they only care about themselves and they care very little about fun or the fans.
Yeah, that seems to be true.
I wouldn't have been shocked if they didn't reverse this, you know?
The good news is this error has been corrected.
Good.
Tailgating will be allowed depending on local laws, but FIFA is not banning tailgating.
Okay.
So I can tell you for sure, for one example, a place that was very upset about this was Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Gillette Stadium, which will be known as Boston Stadium, as we covered yesterday. Boston Stadium for the World Cup. There was outcry and outrage, as there should be, that there wasn't going to be tailgating allowed for the games that are going to be hosted in Boston / Foxborough, Gillette Stadium. But now that this has been reversed, that is obviously now tailgating will go on as planned. There may still be some restrictions because parking is going to be tight. It's going to be crowded. It's going to be complicated, but
we will find a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Tailgating, like Denny's, is an American institution. You cannot tell us we cannot do it because you're not telling me, that even though this rule may have still been in place, that Americans were not going to tailgate. Americans were going to tailgate.
Tens of thousands of soccer fans would find a way.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
Tailgate. So this is justice has been served here.
Yes, the right move.
And
finally, by FIFA.
What's funny is at this point, they're saying that this was all just a big misunderstanding, that FIFA doesn't have a ban on tailgating. It just depended on local regulations. So it was just miscommunicated, misunderstanding. And they never meant to ban tailgating.
Sure.
Are you joking me?
Yeah.
Stop trying to lie.
Yeah, FIFA, stop trying to save face, okay? Literally, you making this right decision is like the first right decision you've made in years.
Yeah, just own it.
You are terrible.
Just be like, yeah, tailgating actually is. It's a part of soccer. It's a part of sports. It's a part of America.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get in the way of that.
Exactly.
We realize the error.
Yeah.
Instead of saying,
they'll never say
we misunderstood.
They will never.
It's our fault for misunderstanding.
They will never admit that they're in the wrong.
Yeah.
They are like the most corrupt and just awful association industry, whatever you want to call it.
If you ever admit you're wrong, this is a life tip, then you can be held accountable.
Yes. FIFA does not want anything to do with accountability.
Yeah. I'm glad this has been fixed. And I mean, we can go into all the concerns, but at the end of the day, this is just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Allie, have you ever been tailgating?
Yeah, I actually have.
Yeah, me too. It's so fun.
It is really fun.
I've tailgated a couple times it was at the Virginia Tech football games.
Okay.
That I've been to, and it is some of the best food I've ever had.
And also,
was the food that good, or was it just because of the environment?
It's just because of the environment. But also, I love that no matter what level of sport, it could be like your local, team playing.
Yeah.
It could be a high school game, and there can still be tailgating. That's what I love about it.
We should do more tailgating.
Exactly.
Let's start tailgating at movies. Fire up the grill in a parking lot at AMC. Another hot air balloon horror story. 8772 Radio U. This one has video to go with it as well.
Okay.
So if you send the word balloon to 8772 Radio U, we can send it to you. This one, oddly enough, also coming from California, where a hot air balloon crashed into a casino building near Sacramento. And it is fortunate. Nobody was injured, miraculously. But
it doesn't look like anyone was in it other than the driver.
There was one person. But here's what's crazy is that it could crash like this because this was a hot air balloon. And I think we mentioned this last week when we talked about hot air balloon stuff, this was not one that was flying out for a trip somewhere from point A to point B or out on a sightseeing mission. This was tethered. It was like to promote this new casino building opening. So
did it break off of its tether?
I believe if I understand correctly, the pilot did that intentionally.
Okay.
Because there was unexpected heavy winds. And so it says the pilot chose to launch into free flight in accordance with safety protocols.
Oh.
Or danger protocols, because it made it very scary. It wound up flying up and then crashing into the casino building. And then I think this was fortunate kind of how this worked out is that like it crashed into the casino building, but then went up over the building.
Yeah.
And so then like it kind of landed on the roof. And fortunately, the pilot, the only person in there, was actually okay.
Yeah, he was okay. And he didn't actually land on the roof, because if you watch the rest of the video, he like keeps going up and doing the free flight as planned and then lands somewhere else.
He attempted to land and wasn't able to. This is like
I see him landing.
It was hardly in the air at all, and it was like tied down, and it still crashed.
That sounds like the wind's fault or something with being close to a building.
And my thing with this is just like, what's the point? What is the actual point?
Hudson's waging war against the hot air balloons.
I just don't understand it. I just don't understand why we need these.
Yeah.
It just seems dangerous and unnecessary.
I'm sure there are more plane accidents and certainly more car accidents than hot air balloon accidents.
Yeah, but Allie, those serve a purpose. They take you from point A to point B. You want to go back to living without cars? What would we do? You want to go back to living without planes? What will we do?
I just don't know what you mean as far as like the equation is too much for you to think about.
Because there's no point. They don't serve a purpose.
They do.
What was the purpose of this balloon?
They have like fun. I don't understand why they set this one up, but to me, like they can offer really fun sightseeing opportunities.
It was there to
promote something.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, do you know how they got this video of the balloon crashing, by the way?
What, an airplane? A helicopter?
A helicopter.
Yeah.
A helicopter that was completely fine.
Well, helicopters are not always completely fine, and we know that.
But they serve more of a purpose, and they were much more resilient against these slightly perfect conditions.
For sure. The wind is going to play a lot bigger role in a balloon compared to a helicopter.
Exactly. You admit it's pointless. It's dangerous. It's unnecessarily dangerous.
I did not admit that it was pointless.
You did. It's a balloon. What are we supposed to do? It's a balloon.
I just said it was for sightseeing. And a part of the reason why it's able to fly is because of the wind. So you're going to need the wind to help you out.
You could just not do that. Stay on the ground or get in
Stay on the ground or get in a helicopter?
Something with a motor.
No, I am never getting in a helicopter. Literally never.
Look up the stats, Allie. The
hot air balloons are way worse for helicopters than they are for hot air balloons. Are you crazy?
I looked this up last week. The stats for skydiving are better than stats for hot air balloons.
I am not skydiving.
And the only reason you have a problem with skydiving is user error.
Skydiving. You were talking about helicopters.
I guarantee you, helicopters are safer.
There's no way the stats are better for helicopters than they are for hot air balloons.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna look it up. The real battle, and that is between hot air balloons and every other form of transportation.
No, you specifically said hot air balloons and helicopters.
Okay,
and then
you
were like, hot air balloons and skydiving. And
it doesn't matter what you put hot air balloons up against, they're the worst.
No, I'm seeing right here that in the United States, there were 55 fatalities, or there's an average of 30 to 55 fatalities in helicopters. 0 in hot air balloons.
Of what time frame?
This is for 2024. In hot air balloons, there have been 70 fatalities from 1964 to 2014.
I have here a study that says commercial hot air balloons have a 10 times higher risk of accidents than helicopters.
Well, I'm talking about actual death.
Listen to these stats, Allie. Commercial ballooning recorded 55.5 serious incidents or accidents per 100,000 landings. Helicopters, 2.6.
I'm talking about death, Hudson. Actual death being caused. Are people dying in hot air balloons as much as they're dying in helicopters? I don't think so.
During this 8-year study, or the 8-year period that was studied, there were no hot air balloon deaths. There was 8, so 1 per year helicopter deaths.
Was this the one in Australia?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that study too.
8 in 1 per year.
But in the United States, you're talking about...
That could have been 1 crash, by the way, with 8 people on it.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the United States, you're talking about 55 per year. 55 fatalities in helicopters.
Is that for fun flights or for flights that actually have a point?
It says civil, so I'm assuming that's like personal or just not government, non-government flights.
Because if you include, there's just way more helicopter flights, right? Because they actually serve a purpose.
Yeah, there's around 100,000 flights per year is what it says.
But this is comparing...
And it says that they have about a 35% higher crash rate than airplanes, helicopters.
The Australian study is comparing apples to apples because it's hot air balloons for fun, which there's no other kind. Except it's not fun.
Joy flighting.
Yeah, versus helicopters that you would just... Because obviously, because helicopters serve a purpose and actually transport people from point A to point B... There's going to be more.
Go faster.
And there'd be reason for it to crash more.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm just saying as far as worrying about dying, I would worry about dying more in a helicopter than I would in a hot air balloon.
But there's other things to worry about besides dying.
Well,
like living through a horrific accident.
Well, if I crash in a hot air balloon, I have a much more likelihood of surviving than if I crash in a helicopter.
But if you crash, but in a helicopter, you don't have to worry about crashing.
No, that's not true at all. They have a 35% higher crash rate than airplanes.
It has a 2.6 out of 100,000 landings.
I don't want to be in a helicopter.
What is the percentage point of that?
I don't want to be skydiving.
2 out of 100,000. It's infinitesimal.
In that study in Australia.
Yeah. That's 100,000.
I don't live in Australia.
So what is it about our American hot air balloons that's so much safer?
What is it about American helicopters that are so dangerous? Because there's so many.
They're not.
I see so many accidents all the time.
We have 2 footage of hot air balloon accidents in the last week.
We have plenty of footage.
This is like in Bob's Burgers when Tina was learning to drive across the parking lot and there's nothing in the parking lot and somehow she still crashed into something.
Yeah, well,
this hot air balloon was a foot off the ground and it still crashed into a building.
And he's still fine. The building is still there. If a helicopter crashes into a building, no one's going to be fine. The building's not going to be fine.
Max says Hudson is right. Max was in the military. You know, we don't use hot air balloons in the military because that would be stupid.
Exactly. I would 100% agree with that. Well, I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying hot air balloons need to be in the military.
Susanna says, Allie, are you doing this for big hot air balloon? What is it with you and hot air balloons?
Are you doing this for big helicopter?
I'm doing this anti-hot air balloon.
You're the one with the burden of proof over here. You're the one against hot air balloons. I just proved that you're much more likely to crash in a hot air balloon. I just proved that you're much more likely to die in a helicopter, and I think death is worse than injury.
But if you're not likely to crash in the first place, how are you dying?
I just said you're more likely to die from a helicopter crash than you are in a hot air balloon crash.
But
maybe you crash in a hot air balloon. Maybe. But you won't die in a hot air balloon.
But if you only care about dying, then that's not there's a lot of things you can do that won't.
Death is worse than injury.
There's a lot of drugs you can do that won't kill you. That are still bad to do.
I would like to avoid death, so I will avoid the thing that is the risk of death is
I would like to avoid crashing and injury, especially when the's no point.
Well, then you shouldn't be driving. You shouldn't be flying.
There's a point to those.
I don't understand the logic here. But
everybody's in the text is on my side. In this Battle of the Buzz, I win. So. Except for Tom, who said, can't we all get along? No, not if people are defending hot air balloons.
Not if people are going to defend this insanity.
The NBA might have finally done it. They might have solved tanking. 8772-RADIO-U, or use the talkback button in the RadioU app to let us know. Do you think this new proposal that is expected to be agreed upon here in the coming days, is this going to fix it? The NBA has a problem with teams that are bad intentionally losing, not like throwing games.
Yeah.
The players on the court, but just like sitting players out with injuries and trading all their players away and just, basically.
Overall not trying.
Right, just not trying. because the worse your record is, the lower you rank in the standings, the higher percentage chance you have of getting the number one pick.
Right.
The new proposal would change that entirely. They call it the 3-2-1 proposal.
Okay.
Where you could either have in the pool of lottery balls a chance of you being chosen as the number one pick. You could either have 3 balls in the lottery, 2, or 1. That's where the name comes from.
Okay.
You would get 1 if you were either the 7 or 8 seeds in your conference in the playing games.
Okay.
You would get, regardless of whether you win or make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You get 2 if you're the 9 or 10 seed in the playing games.
Okay.
Or if you're one of the bottom 3 teams in the league. So you would get penalized for being the worst.
Okay.
The worst 3 teams. Everybody else in the middle gets 3 balls.
Wow.
Yeah. So that would leave what? Then we're talking about like 10 teams getting 4 or 10 or 11. I don't know, my math. Yeah. About half of the teams would have 3 and about half of the teams in the lottery would have 2 or 1.
Right.
You think this is going to work?
I don't know. I mean, it is indeed a problem that needs to be fixed. So I'm glad that they're addressing it, but I don't know if this is enough to get people to stop doing that. But hopefully it would be, because I'm tired of teams doing it. I'm tired of teams tanking and trying to get the number one. Because also it's like, it doesn't always work, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like you can guarantee that if you decide to tank, that your number one pick is going to work out. You may not get the number one pick because it's a lottery, but also whoever you draft may not work out in the NBA.
Who was it last year? Like, what are the teams tanking? And the team that actually wound up getting the number one pick was the Mavericks, who are not tanking.
Yeah, right.
So you don't know how it will go, but I don't know this necessarily solves it, especially because one of the other rules is teams will not be allowed to have the number one pick in back-to-back years, which is rare.
Okay.
But that wouldn't be allowed to happen at all. And teams will also not be able to have top 5 picks for 3 consecutive years.
Okay.
But to me, what the concern is, if you're legitimately bad, then this is going to really stunt your chances of getting better.
Right.
And what I also think it does is incentivize teams it may stop teams from losing every single game they can at the end of the year so they can be the worst.
Yeah.
Which we definitely saw this year. But it's not going to stop what I think is possibly even worse. And that's teams that when they're like kind of in the mix, after the All-Star game, when it's like, oh, should we do something? Should we not? From tanking at that point, because it's much better to miss the play-in games entirely than to be in them, even though you're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs.
Sure. Yeah. It could cause other issues in other areas.
Right.
By creating this new system.
What you want is every team desperately trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Until they're officially eliminated.
Right.
And this is not going to foster that, I don't think.
No, I feel like the NBA is the worst professional league in American sport at that problem with competitiveness, because I don't feel like even the teams that are in baseball that have no shot at, making the playoffs, I don't feel like they really give up. There's a few teams that do, but I feel like they're going to try their best to win a series, to win a game. And the same with the NHL, same with the NFL. People want to win games. And in the NBA, it just feels like they don't.
Yeah. Well, and they're never going to do this, but to me, the best answer is still shortening the season.
Yes.
Because not only did you have the teams that were going to miss the playoffs not trying for at least an entire month this year, you also have the teams that are going to make the playoffs not really caring about where they land either.
Right.
Out of the 16 playoff teams now, like probably 10 or 12 of them were not really fully dialed in this past. And, understandably, because you don't want to get injured.
Yep.
But also, it's just because the season is too long. There's too many games. So that's the only answer to me, but they'll never do it. One fast food restaurant is introducing a value menu for the first time in their history.
First time ever.
Yes, they've never had one of these before. Some of the texts we got in, Regina said, 5 Guys. They sure need one.
That's what she said. Sounds like they need one.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. Also, William says the only place I can think of that doesn't have a traditional value menu might be Chick-fil-A. Unfortunately, no. Chick-fil-A, 5 Guys. 5 Guys definitely doesn't have a value menu, but they're not
introducing one.
The fast food restaurant for the first time ever getting a value menu is Subway.
Wow.
Yes. Subway, of course, famous going back in time for their $5 footlongs.
Yeah.
That's about the closest they got, but that really wasn't a value menu.
Yeah, like a full menu of things that were all at a lower discounted price.
Right. And so, and even in a sign of the times, that is not even a thing anymore. The $5 footlongs
it hasn't been for a long time. Like that went away a long time ago.
But Subway is now introducing their first ever value menu, which includes a handful of 6-inch subs that are just $3.99.
Wow.
Then a handful of tortilla wraps that are $4.99. And then also there's a daily sub of the day that's $4.99 as well. That's not $4.99 every day.
Okay. But on that
depending on which day you go.
Okay. So it's like a soup of the day, deal of the day type of thing.
Yeah. So they actually are also introducing 2 new sandwiches on this value menu.
Okay.
So 2 of the $3.99 subs, one is the spicy pepperoni and one is the ham and salami, which are new.
Those are new.
New sandwiches.
Okay.
They also have the cold cut combo and BLT on the as far as like the $3.99 6-inch sub list goes.
Yeah.
For the wraps, it's the Baja chicken, peppercorn ranch chicken, Italian trio, and turkey ham wraps. And then your $4.99 sub of the day, a lot of alliteration. Because it's Meatball Monday with the meatball marinara. Tuna Tuesday, the classic tuna sub that I believe technically is legally tuna, but just barely.
Just barely tuna.
Then the Sweet Onion Teriyaki Wednesday, which rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Beautiful.
Turkey Thursday, Forest Ham Friday, that's the Black Forest Ham, BMT Saturday, and Spicy Italian Sunday.
All right.
Subway trying to compete with these other restaurants that are putting out, that have always had value menus.
Yeah.
As long as you can remember.
Listen, I feel like they got to do something because anytime I've gone into a Subway, I feel like they're empty.
Yeah.
You know?
I never understand how I just always assume there must be like a bunch of construction workers that come in all at once at a time that I'm not there.
That I never am there.
Keep that Subway alive because every Subway I've ever seen, it's like nobody's in there.
So dead, yeah.
And they're all over the place.
They are. There are so many Subways. When I lived in the town I went to college in, they had like 5 Subways. And this was a small town.
They have 5 Subways and 1 other fast food restaurant.
Right. Like they had a decent amount of fast food, but like for whatever reason, they had 5 Subways. And it's like, we do not need 5 Subways. That's way too many. I'm not nothing against Subway, but it's not for me. I don't usually like subs in general. I can't remember the last time
I went to Subway.
Well, I had Subway recently, and I was just like, yeah, this is why I don't eat here.
Especially with like Jersey Mike's and like some of these other places popping off that like aren't really that much more expensive.
Right.
I just don't understand why you would go to Subway. But
subs just aren't as much of a thing for me. Like I just don't. It's so much bread, and I'm not a big bread fan, and so I just Yeah,
and there's just better options.
There's so many better options out there.
But now there may not be cheaper ones. I have a list here. 6 things that ChatGPT is not allowed to talk about. 8772 Radio U or the talkback button in the Radio U app. This was just recently discovered in a document posted by OpenAI, which is the company that is responsible for ChatGPT. People found in their codex for it that ChatGPT is instructed never talk about goblins. Gremlins, raccoons, trolls, ogres, pigeons, or other animals or creatures.
Why?
It says, unless it is absolutely and unambiguously relevant to the user's query. It's in there multiple times.
Okay.
The exact same phrasing with that never talk about goblins, etc., is in there a second time as well, emphasizing that it is important. ChatGPT doesn't just randomly bring up goblins to you.
Okay, so I'm reading this now, and this is hilarious to me. So apparently, the reason they had to do this is so funny to me, is because there was a known issue where earlier versions of the models would randomly insert word like goblin in responses. What?
Well, I thought they wanted like ChatGPT to be very like human. So I think they should leave that in there. You just randomly get fixated on goblins.
Is saying goblin sound more human?
I can think of some people that would do that.
That would say goblin all the time?
Yeah, you just randomly say goblin. I say gremlin all the time.
I do say gremlin sometimes. Usually it'll be like when something's not working. I'll be like, oh, the gremlins got to it, overnight or something.
I use it as like an adjective of like I'm being gremlin-like. I'm going gremlin mode.
You're going gremlin.
Yeah, that's when you're being mischievous or just doing something you probably shouldn't do, but it's fun. Chaos could ensue.
Yes, my one of my old bosses, he always used to say this, and I always thought it was hilarious, but it was so funny to me when he would say this, but he'd say we'd be getting medieval about it. We're going to get medieval on this.
Yeah, we'll get medieval on your hiney. I don't know why, though. Why the specific ones, if you wanted to not get like caught up on, throwing goblin in there, but it's just an odd combo of gremlins, goblins, raccoons, trolls, ogres, and pigeons.
Yeah.
Are the 6 they specifically point out.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But here's what's interesting to me. They say unless absolutely or unambiguously necessary to the query. So that means if you ask ChatGPT, hey, who were the villains that William Dafoe and James Franco played in the Spider-Man movies? It would say Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Because that's
relevant.
Related.
Yeah.
But I guess if you were like, write a fantasy story featuring mythical creatures and whatever,
it would
exclude goblins and gremlins and ogres and trolls because that's not specifically related?
Yeah, it'd probably lean more into wizards and dragons.
Dwarves.
Yeah, some
fairies.
other type, definitely fairies if you want to be popular apparently. But yeah, I think it would lean into other categories and avoid those. Now I kind of want to put this to the test.
You do?
I kind of want to put it to the test. You want to try
to trick it into saying goblin?
I want to try something to be, I don't know, what should the prompt be? What should I say to get it to say gremlin or goblin or ogre? That's not like directly asking it to say
I know, because that's cheating and that's not actually breaking it. I feel like it would be the answer of like, tell me a story about mythical creatures.
Write a bedtime story about a mythical creature
that lives under a bridge.
Yeah.
And maybe one that like hoards money and stuff.
And hoards money.
Because that sounds like it would fit.
Okay, let's see what it comes up with.
Is it going to specifically? This is a good question.
Oh, it didn't even come up with what he is. It says it's a mythical creature named Brimble.
Because it's not allowed to say troll.
Not allowed to say troll, and it's not allowed to say. He says it mentions that he's not a troll. It says Brimble was what old stories sometimes called a coin warden. He wasn't a dragon, though he wished he had the wings. He wasn't a troll, though people often guessed that first. He was something in between, soft fur like river moss, eyes like polished pennies, and long fingers that could hear the sound of money from a surprising distance. His hands could hear money? Okay. Oh, ChatGPT, you're such a funny thing.
I think it did an okay job.
I think sounds like a fun little story, but it's hilarious to me how hard it avoided to say troll.
It wasn't a troll.
Yeah, but it
said
wasn't.
Troll.
Yeah, it said troll, but it made it clear that it's not. Brimble's not a troll. Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.